Hi, it's Doug Dane. Why would you pigeonhole people? I want to welcome you to a place on the internet where you're going to find the truth that will make you feel free. My book, Mistaken Identity, is a guide to letting go of a past that's holding you back. And today's a daily tip from my book designed to change your mind about your attitude towards yourself so you can let go of your past and you can enjoy your life more. This can happen fast, it's not complicated, and it doesn't have to be hard. Listen, like many people, like you and many other people, I really suffered as a child. I was mistreated and abused, and I grew up with my own mistaken identity. And the real problem that we face in our world is judgment. So we pigeonhole people into what somebody called a pumpkin in a jar. There's a great story of a farmer who poked a small pumpkin into a glass jar, and the pumpkin grew to the exact size and shape of the jar. And so we were poked into a jar by somebody else. We pigeonhole people, and we do that through the main problem we face in life is judgment. And so I'm just going through my book, Mistaken Identity here, chapter 1. In fact, I wanted to write a book just about judgment because I really believe that is an epidemic. It's a problem of epidemic proportion. And so I open the chapter here. It says, judging a person does not define who they are, it defines who you are. Now listen, the problem with judgment is that we learned to judge. And so I start here on page 27. When you stop judging others, you'll stop judging yourself. When we were born, we were authentic and filled with love without judgment. But very early on, we learned to judge. It starts small and it grows. It grew in you, and it grew in the ones around you who raised you and taught you. We watched our parents judge people. They criticized the neighbors. They criticized their friends, talking behind people's backs. They criticized each other, and when they raised us, they criticized us too. They didn't mean to, but they did. And so that's what happened is we are filled with way too much judgment, and we pigeonhole people into these pumpkins in a jar. I was listening to a podcast this morning, or a video rather, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was being asked about what he's learned about fatherhood. And it was interesting. I love listening to this guy because he's very direct like me. And he said, the thing that surprised me about fatherhood was that all four of you children, his daughter was interviewing, all four of you children are different. And so that was kind of the basis of his little message about the differences of his childhood, his wife's childhood, and then being a parent and raising children. And all of them were different. And so we pigeonhole people. Now, we have such strong judgment, and again, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to change it. So when you were little, you got judged. Very early on, when you were an infant and a baby, you weren't judgmental. You were just happy and playful and creative. But then the adults got your attention. And when they noticed that they had your attention, they started drilling in rules, values, beliefs, biases, prejudice. This is right, this is wrong. But at a very early age, they were trying to get you to follow the rules. Now, listen, they had your best interest at heart, I'm sure. They didn't really know what they were doing in some cases. They did the best with what they could, but they also were taught to judge, and they learned to judge themselves, and they judge you. So if you didn't follow the rules or stick to the deal, they judged you. In some cases, you might have got teased or criticized or punished, or in my case, you got hit. And you started to take this judgment on yourself. So you learned to judge. You were judged first, and then because you weren't meeting up to the standards of the adults or the parents or the teachers or society or whatever, then you started to judge yourself. You took that on and you learned to judge yourself. And of course, that became a habit. And then you judge other people. And so now you're very judgmental potentially. Definitely probably judging yourself way too much. And it's hurting you. And it's hurting people around you. It's hurting your potential. It's hurting your creativity. It's hurting your ability to see your life and see your problems differently. You definitely would have a mistaken identity, a poor attitude potentially towards yourself because you've been judging yourself for so long. So listen, we really got to work on judgment. In my book, what I do is I talk about the key to getting rid of judgment, and it's just a habit, is stop judging other people. Make that a habit, and then you'll stop judging yourself. And then when other people judge you, you become immune. I was on a podcast interview this morning and the person said, I thought what I had to do was actually stop judging myself in order to stop judging other people. I said, no. I said, just do it the way it happened to you. Stop judging others, make that the habit, and then you'll stop judging yourself. Because if you're in the habit of just looking for the good in people and not judging people or criticizing people, if you form that habit, it's pretty hard to break that habit and do something differently with yourself. And if anybody does it to you, you become immune. And that's really what we've got to do, is we've got to get rid of this judgment. It's everywhere. It causes all kinds of problems. It distorts people's perception and their reactions. And if you're having trouble in your life, chances are you're probably judging too much. So listen, too many people suffer in their life, most of their life, because they were mistreated as a child. Mistaken Identity, my book, guides people to let go of their past and stop trying to fix themselves. They become free to be themselves, so they feel better about themselves, and everything in their life gets better. So get my book, read the judgment chapter, take the action step in the back of it. I think you'll see it'll make a really big difference in your life. Thank you.